Positively Negative. No. Positively Negative. Episode 6. Monday, 26th of March, 2018.
Welcome.
Hi. That didn't quite work out, did it?
It's always,
It's always a bit sloppy at the start.
I think that's wow. I think that's why a lot of even though it's annoying, I think that's why a lot of YouTubers and people who podcast have the exact same thing that they say every single time. Like, welcome back to blah 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 blah. Just because you have to maybe put that on autopilot, or else you get you get awkward.
I think if I was in a different place, if I was on planes all the time or trains, then I would expect a certain kind of podcast in the morning. So I wake up and it's episode 7, because there's different kinds of podcasts for me. If it's tech, if it's informational, then I kind of want it in that structure. But I think a lot of podcasts that I really enjoy, the ones that are kind of loose like ours.
Loosey goosey.
I like it when it's loose, baby. It's just too loose. Yeah, so it's Monday. It's start of the week. I woke up really buzzed up this morning. I have to say, I woke up super positive, mainly because I didn't sleep well. Well, I didn't go to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think, we went to the pub and I ate some strange, funky cheese.
You did eat some cheese.
Yeah, the typical boys in their local pub, oh, is this going to be what? I ate the cheese.
Yeah. Well, when you went to the cheese, the guy elbowed me and was like, "It's really terrible." It was
nice.
A big setup.
Nice
and I
of it
was
to tell you, innit, not me.
Yeah, because he was like, "Watch, he's going to go eat it. It's really awful." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But it was, I don't know, you said it was fine, but the smell was,
it stunk horrible. It's like somebody's socks. I think he's probably been keeping it in his socks or his underwear or something.
It smelled like gym socks.
It was bad.
Not in a good cheese way.
It was a bad smell. The cheese was fine because it was brie, but it was a bad smell. It wasn't a good smell. It wasn't a matured smell.
Yeah.
It was just this should have been shot.
It was
down.
well, that's what I said. I was like, in evolution, our bodies have evolved to avoid certain things that have certain smells, because in the wild that's no, don't eat that, that'll make you die.
Yeah, but
and so I had that reaction when I smelled it, and so I just decided to follow my evolution.
Well, listen,
the drinks are coming out.
It's not every day. It's Monday night. I like this whole drinks on a school night, it feels like.
Drink on a school night.
We don't get to go to that fairly local. I mean, we say fairly local pub. We have to walk over 2 fields to get to it.
It's
very
such a nice
quintessentially
walk.
British. But
I posted photos of it.
the good thing about it is that when you get in there, they're dead calm and relaxed and chilled, and the beer's really good price and they keep it really well. But I forget about it, and I forget about it every time. I don't think it's on there every day, but they have a cheese board.
Yeah, and sausage rolls and cheese and onion rolls.
And they're warm as well. As soon as that plate got down, another one came out.
It felt like you were at somebody's house.
Yeah. It
felt like you were at grandma's. Oh.
Here we go. Oh, that's it. Blow my microphones up. Let's go. Hang on, keep going.
Oh my God.
They're really good to
we
pick
gotta
up.
work on the levels, but
yeah, the levels were stupid. I'm sorry, but yeah, we don't go there very often. We had three pints, and I had a lot of cheese and a lot of crackers.
When were you? You must have been skipping.
Yeah, I was in
cheeky cheeses here and there, because I didn't feel like I got that much.
No, I kept on feeding you crackers.
Yeah, I know, but it's I think they play that. They put the cheese board in the middle of the bar, and you have to be. It's you feel a little bit like you're at the 6th grade dance, where who's going to be the first one to make the move.
It's a bit silly like that.
But I think that they do that so that people don't abuse it, because you have to overcome the social anxiety and peer pressure of oh, are you going to be the one to go back for the cheese again?
No, I don't think it's that at all. I initially did, because it's I'm an outsider and I'm just taking free food off the bar, which is kind of weird, because it's we poisoned this, we won't see these again. But I actually noticed her technique, that as soon as my glass was another one, straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away. So I think it's a really clever ruse, really. It's kind of you're going to have another crack though, aren't you?
But I don't mind it.
You're going to have another one because you finished it. So basically we paid £9 for a cheese board. That's
Yeah,
when I look at it like that. 3
and
pints.
6 pints.
Yeah, £3
Well,
each.
three. Yeah,
So
but
like,
I didn't realize that how cheap the pints were until just now.
yeah,
I like
nine
really
pound.
comparatively.
Basically, it was a £9 per person cheese board afternoon.
Yeah.
Because I ate quite a lot of cheese. Anyway, back to the point.
Well,
Is that I had 3 pints. I had some cheese. We came back. It was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Fell asleep.
well, listen. You think you slept for 4 hours? I have to break it to you. You didn't.
How long did I sleep? 3
An
then.
hour.
No way.
No, I looked at the Fitbit data, sir. We went.
You looked at your Fitbit data.
But we were both asleep.
No, I don't believe it.
You
You,
didn't.
you might have been asleep for an hour. I felt like I was asleep for a long
We
time.
were conscious at 5 o'clock, and then we were conscious at 7 o'clock. So maximum, you slept 2 hours.
Oh,
I
now
slept
it's gone up an hour.
No, I'm saying that was the window where between where we turned off the one movie and then we put on another movie was a 2 hour window. I CSI investigated this morning.
Listen, I must have had a good. Well, I need to look at my Fitbit data
Go
then
ahead.
at some
I
point.
dare you.
And I need to work out. I need to deep dive my data and find out if I had deep sleep for like an hour or two, because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep, and then when I did get to sleep, I woke up. You woke up first before me because you were out doing your yoga. You were just gone. You were like over it.
I was
like,
I was up for like an hour before I even got out of bed, and then
you
I
didn't
was
sleep very
double
well
out
because
of
I
it.
kept waking you up because like you kept on tossing and turning. We're like hugging, like in various weird ways throughout the night.
Configurations.
Yeah, like,
No, I remember you not being able to sleep. Like
Not at
I went
all.
to bed, you stayed up, then you came back, then you came to bed, then you couldn't sleep. Like there was, yeah. My sleep was pretty much trash last night, but I got enough. Like I got 7 or 8
I was
hours,
gonna say.
whatever.
And then I got up at like 10. So I got up at like 10 o'clock this morning on a Monday and still crushed it. Still crushed it in the way that I wanted to crush it. I would have liked to got another 2 posts on today and 2 videos, but like my big post that got put out today, thank you to @DLive, they upvoted it, which is kind of sweet of them.
Wow.
Especially because Steam and every other crypto thing is like struggling right now in this. People are like not confident of putting money into it. You know, the biggest thing for me, the biggest takeaway for me is not that I'm not bothered about the up and down of it so much. Like crypto's here, it's here to stay. The biggest thing for me is that when it goes down, it kind of gets me a little bit down about the fact that people don't realize how awesome it actually is, the technology behind it. Because once you step outside, once your crypto buzz rubs off a little bit, because you know either your portfolio is good or you know you're spending money or whatever. Recently, even just my smaller transactions, like we had one today, like peanuts, like sending it. So I feel like I'm a bit miffed that a lot of people have probably put money in it, lost money at Christmas, and they had massive charges like $50-$60, and they're like, fuck it, I'm not using this.
Yeah.
Just use the bank. Whereas now you got Segwit in there, you got Lightning in there, a lot of technology that people don't really care about really, but that if they look at the number and it's like, oh, that's like, it cost me 50 cents, and it's like pretty much instant. I mean, all right,
Yeah.
Bitcoin takes a bit longer because it's just old and the uncle of the family.
What is longer even? Like a couple minutes?
But
Like
my point was, and you're absolutely right, and I thank you for bringing my brain back into the room,
You
is
got
that
it.
now that I've been through that process, everything else looks terrible.
yeah.
Like I don't want to even interface with like banking and other kind of services that don't have a blockchain.
Right.
Mainly because of my own due diligence that I'm realizing that I'm doing about money and transactions and finance and holding. You know, I'm not a trader. I'll never be a trader. I'll never understand the peaks and troughs and all the buzzwords because I'm not trained in it.
Yeah.
I need to go on some serious like
Yeah,
cribbing stuff, but I don't. I know how much that stuff could change me. It's a bit like being a designer or a programmer. It's like I don't want that to be the only thing about my character. But now that I've experienced it, I love it. So yeah, it's a little bit down when Steam is like under $2, but it's still in a good place for where it is. I mean, it was dirt cheap at one point. I just wish I'd bought more. I wish I had bought more. I mean, you coulda, shoulda, woulda, I guess.
Yeah. That's
But-
the way it goes. You can't think like that.
No.
I mean, we could not even know about it at all to this day.
If you think about it, we were in Portugal for Steamfest, and everybody was buzzing about $7,000.
That's why I always keep
Yeah.
reminding us. It's like when we were like, oh my god. I remember when Bitcoin
Like
hit
4 and
2,000.
5 and 6 and 7.
were
It's like,
like-
whoa.
Excuse me, one Bitcoin is worth $3,000? I mean, now we're sitting pretty at like 7-9. If
Yeah.
you know, depending on when you bought, that might be a good thing or a bad thing. But we all knew. Like around Christmas time, we were like, no, 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 this train is going too fast. Like
Too
I
fast.
felt myself. When you're in the passenger seat of somebody driving that you don't really trust, and you start putting the fake brake on with your foot in the passenger seat. Like that's how I felt for probably 4 weeks.
I'm
I was
super
like, this is not. I don't know anything about anything, but this is not sustainable.
I'm super vocal about that when I'm in the passenger seat. Like I
Yeah,
get
I've
super
noticed.
animated. I lean forward. I'm banging on the dashboard. I've got my hand on the handbrake. And whoa, 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 whoa. I can't help
Yeah,
it.
you
It's
couldn't
just like
handle when I was driving in New Jersey. I
you
remember
drive like
that.
a nutcase.
I keep up with the traffic and keep us safe.
You
It's called
keep
aggressive defensive driving.
No, that's not. I
You
mean,
can't
even if
be
it,
defensive without being
I'm
aggressive.
sure that's beautiful driving in the end of days apocalypse.
That's
But
what it's
like,
like to drive in New
it
Jersey.
is when you don't know that you're going through the same toll back and forth. I bet they thought you were a mentalist.
I was a little
Yeah,
disorientated.
just a little bit. So, how's your day been? That good,
Oh.
huh?
No, it started out great.
No, so you're tired though, right?
I'm rubbing my eyes. If you can't, you could probably tell by the way I'm talking.
So
I'm
you had a
rubbing my face.
tiring day. People
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, you just do computer work," but it's tiring, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of switching. Like, I think it was part of the Ikigai book that we read talked about you can't really multitask. If you think you're multitasking, you're not. You're just switching between
Yeah,
tasks.
very
And
fast, yeah.
I find for me, the more times that I do that switch, like I have a limit, whatever the number is. But if I'm switching tasks and switching, like today, for example, I had my client open in Slack. She was giving me notes, and then
Mm.
I was popping back over to Photoshop, dealing with the notes, figuring things out. Then I was also doing basic file management and just making sure I had everything set up because it was kind of a complicated file system going. And that toggling, that switching, that increases my like focus and energy burn rate like times a million.
Mm.
So any day where I'm like really like bouncing back and forth between a lot of things, I feel like I'm more drained at the end of the day. And that's I think a lot easier to do on computers than any other job.
Mm.
Like my dad, for example, is a mechanic, and not that his job is easier by any means because I don't believe it is, but you can focus on one thing, complete it, and then move on to the next step. Where we have like I do my best to keep everything on like notifications are all off, everything's on do not disturb mode. I'm not getting emails coming in, but there's still just so many windows and so much switching going on. So
Mm.
yeah, it just it burns you out a little bit, but it's all right. I had a lovely morning in the sun. I
Mm.
treated myself to an hour of yoga, which is something I don't typically do because, I don't know, I like to hover around like the 30-40 minute mark.
Give me an extra hour in bed.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm out of here. I can't stand it when I know that the sun's out and I'm not outside.
No,
I
I get you.
absolutely can't stand it.
Get you.
So, just like,
One of the fun
it's
things
good.
for me of getting out of bed and making like because it's kind of empty because you're not here.
Yeah.
Like I'm making the eggs, I'm like in my routine, and then I open the door and I can see you're halfway through it, so you got a bit of a sweat on and you got a little thing there, but I can see how much it's doing for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and it gives me a bit of time to just sit down, have my coffee, and then I know you're coming in, so it's like, all right, now get your eggs on the go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind. I think if you've got a partner and you're butting heads in the morning over breakfast, or like you're like,
Close
I need the
spaces.
toilet, I need this and that, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Try and just offset the time that you do stuff like by half an hour or whatever, so the other person's like before you or
Yeah.
after you, because it makes such a difference when you've got your own space to do that
And mental
first. Yeah,
space.
exactly. That first hour in the morning to get your shit together in a
Yeah.
way that you know to get your shit together.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a pretty productive day today. I mean, I got a post up that I wanted to do that I was finished off. I would have liked to have got a couple more posts up today, but I felt like I was doing bits and bobs of admin today. I know we only did pots and toilet and stuff like that, and we went
Yeah.
out to the shop, but I feel like for the time of sleep that I had, I did okay. I could have pushed through and gone hard, I guess, and done like 2 more posts and 2 more videos, but I don't like to force momentum like that. I like it to flow naturally. I like it to just be like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm in the vibe for this. I was super in the vibe for it this morning, but I had to finish the post off. What I've started to do is I've started to, whenever I get like in front of the camera and I can't record because either my confidence or I'm feeling just weird or whatever, I feel like I waste so much time there. So I've started writing stuff out so that when I do get a block of time where it's like, okay, I need to get this done in 10 minutes. Maybe if I look at this block instead of 2 hours, it's 30 minutes. I can jump in and get it done,
Yeah.
which I kind of did today. I had a few mistakes, but like, I think I got across what I wanted to get across.
Well, you also were recording a bit later in the day than you typically do.
Yeah,
I
I
know
do
you like to do
mornings.
it in like the first, third
Yeah.
of the day.
I don't know how I don't know how I ever did that that other course. Remember, like when you were overseas, and I was like, I've got to get the Skillshare course up, and I was
Yeah.
like every hour recording something. I was going absolutely crazy. If you want to see a person breaking down recording a course, go and watch my Skillshare courses.
You have a really
Jesus
good.
Christ.
I was here for one. I was here for one of the blooper reels. You actually edited together a blooper reel afterward because it was frightening.
Yeah.
Adventures in mental health.
Talking about mental health, in 2 weeks' time, a bunch of Steamians are going to get together. And I say mental health because it's good for your health to get together with a bunch of mental people.
Yeah.
At Steamfest UK.
No. Steam Camp.
Steam Camp. Ah, that's
Keep
where I've
saying
been getting.
Steamfest, and
Yeah.
it keeps throwing me off because I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know why I keep on saying Steamfest UK. I don't know. I just had a feeling that. I don't know why I did that. I think Lloyd was in mental health again. Lloyd had said something about, I want to do something the same feeling as Steamfest do, but obviously in the UK. Steam Camp UK, yeah, because the first pod camp that I think the first pod camp that ever happened in the UK was Pod Camp UK, and I was one of 4 organisers for that.
the
And
first pod camp that ever happened in the UK was Pod Camp UK?
Yes, it was called Pod Camp UK.
Got
This
ya.
is Steam Camp UK, right?
Yeah.
And it's at the venue of one of the organisers who was the organiser of Pod Camp. All
What was
those
Pod
many.
Camp for those of us who don't know what Pod
It was
Camp
for,
was?
it was well, really none of us really understood where podcasting was going, and I wasn't really a podcaster. I was doing like snippets of audio on a thing called Audio Boom, which I've got like 2,000 like audio posts up there, or at least I did have. Might shut down now, which is probably a good thing. But I used to record audio interviews everywhere I used to go for the agencies. When I used to be employed by the agencies to go to the Nokia gigs, I used to do interviews with everybody. Like when it sent me to Dubai, I did one with all the local people there.
But what was Pod Camp specifically?
It
was
was-
just a group of podcasters.
It was a bit like Steam Camp's going to be. A bunch of people who had a similar interest. You know, the Steamians are going to get together because they've got an interest in blogging and the Steam platform and blockchains. And what PodCamp was for podcasting, audio, hardware, setup, software. It's very new. You have to remember, like, PodCamp, the first one was, you know, where do we host our stuff? Like, which thing should I use?
I'm stoked that like podcasts are still around because they had a really slow, rough start. Like I remember when podcasts were kind of being introduced and people were like, "This is garbage. This is a fad. This isn't going to be here in a year. Like, doesn't replace radio. Is a bad idea." And it really like. I don't think podcasts really hit their stride until like the last maybe 2 or 3 years.
I think
As a concept, I don't think people accepted it. I don't know for what reason. I don't know why, but
well, I think you have to look at the way that things are listened to understand that. I think originally it was like, I've got nowhere to host this. So you have like hosting providers like Libsyn who have been there forever since the very start. And I think Libsyn have put some money into it. I think it takes startups like Anchor to come along and come up with an easy way to do it from your phone without additional hardware and be able to send it to other places. Spotify playing, having the ability
Yeah.
for podcasts, that's huge.
I mean, Apple was there
Apple-
early in the game, but
Sure,
iTunes, but
Apple iTunes has always been crap.
I can't
I
handle.
don't know who's
I
the head
cannot
of.
handle
I don't know who's
iTunes.
the head of iTunes. Just go and hire the guy who made Winamp and get him to build an interface, because it'll be a lot better than. iTunes was dead from the start. It was never going to work out. I mean, Spotify. They should just buy Spotify.
Well, and they have their own Apple Music now, which is like, as soon as that came out, I was like, why would I want to be more in that ecosystem? I hate iTunes. Like, I don't know. I've never enjoyed using it either on desktop
see,
or on mobile.
Audio.
Don't enjoy holding my content with me at all times.
Right. I mean, audio is rife, perfectly positioned really for decentralization, because it shouldn't be about the platform. It shouldn't be where it is. Sure, we should have automatic syndication and delegation everywhere. I mean, Anchor's brilliant. You can say, Siri, play positively, negatively, and it will play. I think products come out by Apple, the HomePod, the little.
Yeah.
You got to remember, like people are like, what RSS? That was the biggest thing, RSS feed. So I remember from PodCamp, people were like, I don't know how to set an RSS feed up. I don't know how to do that. What is an
Yeah,
RSS?
it's scary.
People who do tech, who don't do tech and just have a remote control for a television when they come back from work, they don't give a shit about RSS. So getting rid of all that, making it a bit more transparent, a bit more easy. It's just a button. It's just a click. It's just an app. I think there's been a massive adoption of app technology, and once you know one app or navigating one app, once you get over that, like 4 buttons along the bottom, home key, swipe up, down, volume, that pretty much is across all applications there.
Right.
So they've kind of, the delegation is better. The distribution is better. It's everywhere now. It's on in-car devices. It's on the home devices.
Well, you know what? That brings up an interesting point, because I would say of the probably top 5 podcasts I listen to, I watched 3 of them on YouTube. So one of them is just filmed, another one is broadcasted on Twitch, and then the VOD is uploaded to YouTube. So they have access to chat and things. And then another one is filmed, but then there are things added afterwards. So if the person's talking about a specific outfit that they saw out on the street, they have an editor drop that photo in as they go. So I think the visually watching a podcast has been, I enjoy that a lot. I think that's probably why my attention span and my retention has been there. Because it's the type of thing where you can, I can have it on in a screen, I can be doing my work and just be watching it out of the corner of my eye. I don't have to be fixed on it, but it's there to look at.
Well, it's a perfect crossover, isn't it? Because not everybody wants to watch a live stream or play a game when they can just play their own game. So a vlog is a little bit disconnecting in that you can watch somebody live their life, whereas a vlog which is recorded live and then it's going to be turned into a podcast, if you're halfway through it and you're jumping on a plane and you're fairly organised and you subscribe to that, you can just pick it up.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key, is that just that was such a huge thing that we don't even think about, the ability to just pick things up.
Yeah.
I remember when reloading YouTube would put you all the way back to the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
Whereas now, where you
Right.
left off, bang, it's just everything has been tightened up. So it's no longer about, it used to be about the process, and everybody used to be scared to death of it. It was I need this hardware, I need an RSS feed, I need to be able to put in my tags and all that. And now that's all they've kind of fallen away, because now we've got HD audio in smartphones. So
Right.
I think it's just technology moves it along, and the only thing that makes the difference is that the legacy of doing it 10 years ago and then carrying it on now is that you have all that kind of nostalgia. This is when we need a sample that goes. We were listening to a podcast the other day, I don't know which one, but they had it might have been This Week in Bitcoin, actually.
It was
It
a
just popped
Bitcoin
into my
one.
head. Yeah, he has this sample that just goes. It's in the background. It's nice because it stops. It's kind of stops from one topic to another. So I
Yeah.
have to work on that
I don't think we even know when our topics change as we're
all
changing
the time.
them.
All the time.
But what did you flipped something about? Oh man, I missed HQ. Did you flipped something into our Flipboard about platypus milk?
Awkward silence. No, I don't remember it.
Oh, you were probably late night flipping.
I don't remember
You don't
it.
remember?
No, you'll have to pull that up.
All right, I may have to pull it up.
Was it about? No, I think
It was about scientists finding some type of advancement or cure.
I put so much stuff in there.
I know, and I wanted to talk to you about it, but
It's alright, we'll find it. I mean,
it's here.
yeah. So if you don't know, we have a Flipboard board called Positively Negatively. If you want to do
No,
a
it's
search.
called Positively Negative.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I mean, just
to
come
positive and negative, you'll find something. Positively negative. Positively negative.
how platypus milk could help battle the global superbug threat. First of all, I didn't know there was a global superbug threat.
First of all, I didn't realise we had platypus left.
Oh yeah, they're alright.
I got them confused with some ancient dinosaur kind of thing. I thought they were all gone.
like a pterodactyl.
Well, not quite,
It's
because
like a
they
PT.
fly, don't they? I mean,
Yeah.
it was sea-based, but it wasn't that.
Pterodactyls are crazy.
I don't even remember flipping that. I
All
don't
right,
know
so I'll read you the first paragraph. So, scientists have found a completely novel protein in platypus milk that could hold unique antimicrobial properties. Hell yeah. Get that platypus milk on my face. The platypus has long fascinated scientists with its weirdly unique assortment of features, making it one of the most unusual animals on the planet. Homeboy's got fur and a beak and webbed feet.
Just a second. Who's milking these platypuses?
Dude, I don't. Where are platypus nipples even located?
I mean, that's not information that's gonna hopefully go with me to my grave. But like, uh, what made them look at what made them look at that? Why did they look at the platypus milk for that? I'm confused.
I don't know.
How do these things get started in terms of? Oh, they have more proteins than usual. Did somebody?
How do they find funding to be like, listen, we got a hunch about platypus milk. We're gonna need $100 million.
You can pick some stuff up in Jersey these days. Yeah, I didn't read that through actually. To be honest, what I tend to do with the ones that I flip stuff in there in the hope that I go back to it at some point and catch up with it. I kind of scan a bunch of stuff, like that Mars one. I thought it was kind of cool with the new air breathing thruster.
Okay,
So that was kind of cool. And then the other one today that freaked me out, almost fully formed human brain grown in lab. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. I think you also
I
posted on
Steam
Steam.
hunted that today. I don't know. I tend to look at a lot of these things in terms of wanting to know what's out there, what people are messing with, what people are doing. Because even though we're in a supposed downturn and trillions of dollars is getting spent left, right, and centre, and we've got deficits, and we're doing Brexit, and we're doing this, we're doing that, there seems to be still people, scientists who've got gobs of money, who obviously have had it as part of a project for like 5 or 10 years.
Right.
And the thing that worries me about some of this is like, okay, we'll get this far, and then boom, like 3 years' time, they'll have their funding pulled. So like, all of that stuff that they've developed, it's a race. All of this is a bit of a race. It's exposure. You know, they have to get this stuff out on blogs. They have to get a certain resonance of people like being interested to push it forward, and then they have to write reports to say we had this kind of impact. People saw our research and yada yada yada. But most of the time, people that I've seen go to university and college, they do spend 3 or 4 years on a project. They get it submitted. They take the project off them, and it goes into like research papers. I've never seen a way to access these research papers, so I kind of confused to who's using the information when they've researched it. I mean, obviously it goes into products and services and optimization.
Yeah, maybe
food
you're
chains
gonna see
and all sorts.
platypus milk extract in face creams next year.
I mean, it's not going to impact me, but I can see that it might be a benefit for you. I mean, when I saw this fully formed human brain, I thought, what would Ed 209 be like with a fully formed organic brain? Would he have made better decisions in RoboCop? That's where my head was at.
Oh, who are the brains for? Who's gonna get the brains?
I
Why?
don't think they're for anybody. I mean,
maybe it's for the impending zombie apocalypse, so they just have like a store of brains. We can keep them
that's cool.
satisfied, and they don't have to go after us.
I like that. I mean,
Right?
there's a few people out there we could. We should start ramping up production. The miniature pencil eraser-sized organ is comparable with that of a 5-week-old fetus, although it isn't conscious and was created from reprogrammed adult human skin cells.
How do we know it's not conscious? Do we
Yes.
have a consciousometer now that I didn't know about that we
Somebody-
invented?
Somebody put that on my blog post as a comment. They're right.
Come on now.
Previous attempts have only managed to create partial cerebral organoids, missing various functions of an entire brain. Anand explained that he and his colleagues have grown the entire brain from the get-go. So loads of people are like, yeah, whatever. Until you see the data, I don't believe a bit of it. But he basically said he's developed a, and here's where it gets interesting. It's like a pending patent on the technique. However, it's believed adult skin cells were converted into pluripotent stem cells through a process of gene alteration. So it's going to be a lot of this gene alteration stuff. It's going to be that CRISPR stuff.
Yeah, CRISPR.
You know, they're
DNA.
they've literally got a machine that can alter, change, remove, add. Like, don't do this, do this instead. It's almost like a programming language for proteins.
Yeah, for what your DNA does.
And that's kind of what I mean. It says, it goes on here at the bottom. It says, already have plans for using the brain model for military research, such as understanding the effects of, and get this, post-traumatic stress disorder in soldiers. There's no fucking way that this is being invented for that.
Yeah, please, because mental health is so high on the priority.
Why
of
do you
the,
need to
the
grow
government.
a fake brain that has no stress?
Because they
It's
can
not
give
conscious.
it trauma without it being like I could see the ethical reasons for why you wouldn't be able
Of
to
course.
inflict trauma on somebody just so
Of
that you'd be able to.
course.
But like, who? What if the brain's conscious? Then that brings up a whole nother ethical problem of like, we're torturing brains in labs
I mean, I feel tortured by reading it,
that are
really, but
disassociated from bodies but are fully conscious. Oh,
I
I
don't know.
don't like
I kind
it.
of read a bunch of that stuff like throughout the day, like just things just pop up on that
Yeah.
list.
Well, let's get back to the platypus.
Okay.
So the platypus doesn't actually have nipples.
Okay.
It just secretes its milk from just glands on its abdomen.
Weird.
So the reason why that is significant is because the nipple system provides like a closed transfer, which means there's no bacteria
Got it.
because it's just like the milk is never really exposed to the environment.
Okay.
So the platypus's milk has to have antimicrobial properties naturally because it's out.
Ah.
It kind of gets poured out and then the baby drinks it.
Got it.
From what I can
I
tell.
got it.
So maybe that process, they noticed that process and was like, hey, how the heck is this like, how are the babies not dying? How is this not sterile? Then they started noticing that it had a specific protein. I mean, I think they're just going to be able, like you said, with CRISPR stuff, like, sooner or later they're going to be able to just reverse engineer everything and just hit the print button.
Yeah. I think, I don't know.
It's all going to be replicator stuff.
Energy's going to be the big one, I think. Energy, I don't think we're going to, I don't know. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole tonight, really, but the one thing from my linear brain capability that I have as a 45-year-old man on planet Earth is nothing is in balance. Everything is slowly out of balance, goes out of sync. And it only takes one of those particular areas, food, distribution, energy, water, we're already in an extinction level event. Just be honest about it. Like I was reading stuff last night that people are saying 2026, 8 years from now, end times. And
in terms of weather events,
just,
or like
in just the breakdown of society. Just the breakdown of society in general. I mean, you can already see the signs in some ways. People are pissed off with the governments and, crypto. I know it's kind of seen as like this Wild West where all the pirates and criminals hang out and stuff, but it's actually groundbreaking technology there in trying to open up those data silos so they're not closed shops, if you like. So we feel more invested in the global data that's out there instead of sticking a middleman in the middle of it and making money off it.
But it doesn't work if the power's not on.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. I mean, there's that. There's we're already seeing South Africa running out of water. I don't know. I shouldn't fill my head with this, but I think it's because I'm a Capricorn and I'm like a ground sign. It's not like a negativity thing for me. It's just I feel like I need to not necessarily be informed because I don't have any of the answers to it. I just know that you can't consume without a knock-on effect. It's like anything in life. You drink too much beer, you get pissed, you fall over, you lose your keys. You like eat too much food.
Your
you
keys
get big,
or
you
your
get
peas?
sick. I mean, depends if I'm carrying peas at the time, but sure, keys normally.
I lost my peas.
Oh no,
I'm legally
that
blind.
that would be me actually. At a bus stop at 11:15 at night.
Oh,
I lost my
I could go for
peas.
some peas, man.
Why didn't we buy those?
Should have
frozen?
picked up some. No, we should have picked up. I mean, mushy peas,
Oh,
boy.
what is wrong with you with mushy? Like
You
that's
did-
another
you
problem.
turned
Like
it to- you
I mean,
turned-
did they know that the American was going to come over and eat all their mushy pea stocks? I mean, it's out of balance, Baba.
better increase distribution.
I
'cause
guarantee
I'm coming
you're
for
gonna
your mushy peas.
you're going to be looking for mushy peas.
Jonesing. I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
be
be-
jonesing.
I bet you'll find them. I bet you'll find them easy. Oh, big size. You didn't want to go home. You really don't want to go home.
Obvious. Yeah, I'm gonna miss mushy peas.
Yeah, mushy peas are fire.
I don't know, like
You haven't had really good, fresh, bright green mushy peas from like a really good chippy yet. They're game changer because they kind of
maybe
like
in Brum.
yeah maybe they kind of solidify and then they harden like a shell. It's like a manga cartoon. And then you have to like dig through, and then a section of pea comes with the chips. And then, I don't know. I've looked at peas and chips a lot all across the country, and I kind of ascertained the makeup of them.
Well, Mr. Capricorn,
Yes.
Would you like to know what your horoscope reads
Oh,
today?
here we go. This is where she.
Or would you like to... This is the mystical section of the podcast. Or would you like to tell me about your dreams?
I didn't have any dreams.
I wanna know your dreams.
That should be a recording, shouldn't it? Tell me about your dreams.
I had a crazy stress dreams last night.
Go for it. Tell me about it.
Well, the short version is that I was back in the States and I had a house sitting gig, as I do. I pick up those jobs quite a lot in the States because my mom's a dog trainer, so I kind of get referrals from her.
Yeah.
When her clients go away. And it helps me because I have the inside track on the dog. My mom knows the dog. My mom knows the people. And I stay with the doggo, and it's a good option for people whose dogs don't do well in other places. The dog gets to stay in their house, in their home turf. I watch over the house, keep everything secure while they're away. You know, folks in the neighborhood see a car in the driveway, lights are on, everything's good, dog's chilling.
Yeah.
Good to go. So, but I had a dream that one of my clients called me up and wanted me to do a job, except they had a divorce while I was out here in England. So I'm back. The couple split up. The dog's now with the husband. The husband is married to Kris Jenner in my dream, who is the mother of the Kardashians.
Okay.
I have to go to this massive house. There's Kardashians everywhere. It's like total chaos. My brother's there playing Fortnite. You're there with my brother playing Fortnite. There's people everywhere. There's another dog I wasn't expecting to be there. And I'm like, how can I... I can't do this. I can't watch this dog. Like, I can't keep the house secure and safe. And there's people coming and going. I was super stressed. So I was like, all right, well, puppy's got to go to the bathroom. Let me take him out. One of the Kardashians comes up to me and is like, listen, you got to be careful when you go outside because we got a bad bee problem in this neighborhood. I was like, what are you talking about? Bee problem? She was like, we got bees in this neighborhood. So I was like, fine, whatever. I went outside. There was bees everywhere. All over the place. I couldn't even walk the dog. There was so many bees. So I had to go back inside. And that's all I remember. And I woke up and I went and did yoga.
Christ, I feel like I went into the dentist and come out of the doctor's. Like, I don't know what happened there.
This is why I have to do yoga, because I literally have to clean a mental slate, because how can I be living with the stress of a Kardashian-fueled bead nightmare?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I'm not playing any Fortnite game if the house is full of Kardashians. Like, I'm out of there. I'm not interested in that.
It's a huge mansion. It was too big, and it stressed me out.
Yeah, Pisces, man, you have some crazy ass dreams.
Well, maybe because of where my moon is.
Mystical dreams. You have so many mystical dreams. It's crazy.
I don't know. I think they're just
like that.
You don't.
No, not like that.
Your dreams like very just linear, like you got to do a thing, and.
Oh, kind of. When I do have dreams, they're quite abrupt. They're kind of like something. There's some kind of resolution to do, and then there's kind of like almost like a Jason Statham kind of cutscene between one event and another place, and then there's probably like a chilled out, smooth talking James Bond bit.
Oh, where you get to be James Bond? Oh, baby.
No, not often. No, but what I mean is like a transition, and it's kind of like, you know.
I kind of visualize your dreams with original Star Wars transitions, like swipes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With the music and everything, and establishing shots on Tatooine.
Yeah, my snow speeder's broke down. Bloody piece of shit.
Well, my Venus is conjunct to natal Jupiter.
Ouch! You should get that looked at.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I wish I understood that. But I don't really want to deep dive it, because I know I'll never
Listen,
return.
there's so much data. It can just take up your whole damn life.
I know.
As it has done. You know, up to now, there's so many things that I learnt about, got involved in, turned away from, went and learned something else. Like, you can literally be so overwhelmed by it. I'm desperately trying, bit by bit. I did 5 bags of trash the other day. I really need to start doing, like, every day at least 1 bag.
Yeah, that's a good goal.
Or at least each cupboard, because so much stuff that I don't need, don't want, don't use. Somebody could use it. I can give it away or sell it or whatever. I
It's
want to
so
get real minimal.
incredible that there's that. Like when you see the 5 bags sitting there, you're like, where did that even come from?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's stuff
But
that I held on to because at some point, it's crazy, but you fill boxes full of cables because it's like I might need that cable later on. But if you really talk to yourself about stuff, it's like you're keeping it because you made an investment at some point and it cost you money, and that's where this weird climate relationship comes in, because you don't want to chuck it away because you don't know if it's going to get recycled properly. You're not getting any use out of it, so you might as well hold on to it till you do use it, but then you forget about it because it's out of sight. So it's like
yeah,
I want to get to the point where literally everything around me, like my screen, my bags, like everything, is just like this is all activatable stuff.
yeah, just
Rather
within reach.
Yeah, because like I've got stuff that I bought to do projects and just didn't have the money, didn't carry it on, and I kind of had the headspace of like, well, if I buy it now, then I could just add to it. That doesn't work. Bullshit.
Yeah, and also it's such a momentum killer when you just want to get on with something, and it's like, oh, we interrupt your regularly scheduled program with 20 minutes of digging through things to find something. Like,
That's
there's
about it.
nothing that frustrates me more than like, can't find my headphones. Let me spend 40 minutes looking for them, and now I don't even want to do the thing I wanted to do.
I've been trying to unpack it. I've been trying to unpack why. I say to myself, I'm going to set up a place somewhere in a van where I can put all the chargers, so I can just go there and put the charge. But the truth is, I just put stuff everywhere. Like I put my phone over there, or over there, over there, in stupid places, and then expect to find it. It's on me.
Yeah.
It's totally on me. Like if I designate a place in the bathroom to like this part on the bottom, I put a piece of wood on there so that I could work in there, have a work surface for packing stuff and all that. That didn't work out. Just full of crap.
Yeah.
I hate that. That's probably one of the reasons why I never had a flat again or a house again, because it's just you end up walking into rooms and just being like disgusted with yourself. Like fuck me, look at all this shit. Like I have to tidy this.
Yeah.
I have to clean it. I have to hoover it. I have to dust it. And what are you doing, really? You're just dusting stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like stuff. I like design. I like
if
architecture.
it's there enough to accumulate dust, then you have to think about whether or not
It's not being
like
used.
I don't know. Maybe I should grab that book, the KonMari method book. I've been really interested in that whole like theory of like breaking down things, and it's kind of extreme. I mean, you could like if you were a serious hoarder, like it's somebody who's a serious hoarder could really use it, but from what I've read, you kind of go through this process where you literally pick up and hold and touch everything that you own within the process of whatever it is, 6 months it takes to go through your stuff. And you have to ask yourself like these questions. You have to ask yourself, does this object give me happiness? Does it bring me happiness? Does it make my life easier? Does it serve this purpose? Blah, 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 blah. If it doesn't meet those criteria, it goes.
Sure.
And I'm a big pack rat when it comes to like little things that are like memories, like, oh, that one time the napkin from the bar from the first time that you went to the one place and the thing happened. Like, I've had to like throw so much out in the past 2 or 3 years.
Well, you started taking photos of stuff, didn't you?
And I just
So at
started
least you
taking
got a memory
photos of it because that was like, I have art that like from high school that I threw away because it was like a huge poster board of something. Like what how can I carry that around in my everyday life or like justify keeping that even though it's something that I like
It's funny how we.
appreciate and treasure, but I was like, all right, take a picture of it, it's got to go. And the more I throw away, the better I feel. So
It's funny how we use that as like that's our identity in some way. Like if we don't have it, we're not who we thought.
yeah.
How do we know we're us if we don't have anything that we ever made?
It's like you have that feeling of being like, I have the preemptive fear of it being like 20, 30 years from now and being like, oh, I really wish I had the thing to show. Or whatever.
I don't think I'll remember my middle name. I don't.
Maybe the lights won't even be on.
I'll
to
be on
look
the
at
ledger.
stuff.
I'll be on the blockchain ledger on the P
Just
for
give me
Phil.
Just give me a crossbow.
Nice. I should mention, thanks to all the people who are listening on Pocket Casts and iOS and Android and Anchor. It's very nice that you're out there listening. And if you are and you're like wanted to say hi, because there's no real talkback method on podcasts. It's kind of like anonymous in some ways. You can just listen in, and all we get is a number that increases by 1 every time you're listening. So if you want to pop over to any of blogs on steemit.com, which is a social blockchain, which is proof of brain. If you don't know about cryptography or cryptocurrency or blockchains, then Steemit is a really good place to start because it's free. And I'm at Team Humble there. Dale is Dayleo, Dayleo, and then we put our podcasts at Team Audio. So you can comment on those. You have to get an account, but if you want to say hello or that you're out there, that's kind of nice, two-way thing. I've always found that to be a bit of a weird thing on podcasts. I don't like that situation. I don't want to be in a situation where if we keep putting these out and people are listening to them, and people walk up to you and say, "You said on podcast number 6." I'm like, whoa, who are you? I hate that like immediacy. I'd rather have like a two-way thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, we're also on Twitter.
I mean, we got asked.
Well.
I mean, the reason why I'm saying that is that we got asked the other day to go on an alternative living thing.
Yeah.
And like I don't know what it is, but like maybe it's because the van life, but it's not like we're closed down, but like because we have like a day-to-day routine of getting up and doing client work as and when it comes in. Also, at the end of the weekends, my weekends are taken up. My time is taken up with my daughter, or at least the logistics of picking her up and when she goes and how she stays and stuff. So we just couldn't make it work. It was like a late night thing. It was like 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock. So there's just no way could make it work on especially on the Friday night. But I've also noticed that I'm very much not at the moment. I'm very much somebody who's pushing things out, but I'm not a consumer at the moment. I'm not. I mean, I'll read a blog post and I'll go through some of my favourite bloggers, you know, Exile and a few other people that I see that I have to kind of like check in every few days to watch their videos. But I'm very much not a consumer right now.
No, I feel the exact same way. I think for both of us, we really feel like
we've got too
March
much to do.
Just showed up like an absolute wrecking ball,
Yeah.
and it kind of slapped both of us across the face, and like I have so much to do that. Yeah, I haven't been like really surfing my feed and commenting and reading back on a lot of people's posts who I care about and I want to know what's going on with them, but so a lot of my Steemit time especially has been like just devoted to getting something out there, writing my blog posts, keeping updated, and then it's just straight on to client work because we need to set some things up for the next couple of months. So
That's right.
Yeah,
and so being on something, I think also secretly in the back of my mind, I know that if I get into creating, which is basically if I join into a little community group online, if I do a recording with somebody as well, if I did find the time, for instance, let's just say it was at a different time, maybe it was on a Sunday at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or something like that, some better time that kind of fit in with our routine. Even then, I think in the back of my mind, because we do work on a daily basis together on, you know, what are we doing? What have you got on today? Like, where are we going? Shall we go for a swim? Should we exercise? You know, because it's really like a tightly run ship. I know that if I do a podcast with a group of people, then I might end up with like 20 new followers, and then people want me to comment and they want me to engage, and then it's kind of like, I really enjoyed
what you can take on.
I really enjoyed that. Can you like, do you want to be part of this? And do you want to be part and like, I know it sounds really bad because the whole point of having a blog is kind of to host a conversation back and forth, but I feel like my time, especially now, especially like say with March, is so precious right now.
Well, I mean,
maybe in summer it'll change. I don't know.
I also don't think that a lot of people know really how many projects we have going on at one time. Like, I mean, the thing I don't really feel like we give our own stuff enough time.
No.
You know, because I know that I'm constantly toggling between like, okay, let me run over here and make some fiat money because I'm gonna need some of that. But then also, it's like spinning plates, and you can run over here, and then we're working on like this or nomad pictures, keeping up our own like.
It's kind of funny.
Steemit blogs. We also have like
fiat money, like it used to be US dollars and pounds. Now it's fiat.
Just fiat. I got some fiat problems. You know, we haven't even started really Radio Taizo the way that we wanted to yet. So, like, I feel like we're backlogged on our own projects. It's really hard for me to not want to, because it's nice to collab with people, but it's hard to justify.
I think it'll come when the time's right. I know that for a fact. I think, especially me, I like to dip my toe in the water a bit. It's like I built a little crypto shirt thing up, and then you've made some of these things over here, and there's times where we're like, yeah, we should totally make that. But then if we go into that, like me and Dale do go into things, then we do that, and then we look up and it's like, oh shit, we didn't buy any food this week, and we're
Yeah,
starving.
that's the
It's
problem.
like, oh, okay. It's not that we're no good at balancing. It's just like being realistic about it.
Yeah.
Being realistic about the time
Well, it's
expense.
like where that time and energy has to come from something else. So what does it like? What are we willing to not have going on right now? I feel like things are so tight in terms of, just logistics and time.
I mean,
I'm not willing to take away from anything else at the moment from what else we're doing.
it's another good point actually. Is that when you're living outside of a very efficient town or city, it's easier to get about. Being in the countryside, being away from a main town where you've only got a bus service every few hours,
Right.
like that's a totally different.
Yeah, going to the shop for soup is a whole day situation.
Yeah, so you
It's
have
a
to
whole
go
day
out.
event.
You have to go out. You have to time the bus. It's 2 hours to go there. And then you have to do the swim. And that's an hour. And then you have to wait another 2 hours. So like, there's already 5 hours gone. It's half your day. So
Right, and then
we have to make.
then you're hungry, so you got to find something to eat while you're
But you
there.
also
And
have to make a decision. It's like, all right, am I doing my work in the morning? Am I doing it tonight? Or
Right.
can my client wait? There's like so many variables.
right, and then like we can have a plan, and then one of us wakes up and we've heard from a client, and it's like, all right, we can't go today, or it always has to be able to change on like an
And
hour to hour basis.
And I think that's the thing that never gets talked about off grid and alternative living and stuff. Is yes, you do have your own time on your ticket, but not working 9 to 5 for somebody. It's great. You don't have to commute. You don't have to do the politics. You don't have to do the water cooler chat. You don't have to do all of that stuff. You don't take home the fact that you don't like your boss, the way that looks at you or talks to you or whatever. But there's a different set of like situations now when you're like
Yeah.
working for yourself, because you become the company, if you like. You become the company in terms of like having to think how you're going to grow it, how it's going to go forward, what things to get involved in.
Right.
So yeah, you do have more freedom, and it's kind of like the life I've always wanted to lead. Living between grids. I won't say I'm off grid, but I'm on grid in terms that I need to be on grid to bring in an income. But I don't want all the trappings, the usual
Next
trappings.
to the grid,
Well, yeah,
down the street from the grid.
I don't want the usual trappings that you would normally associate with a life, which is when you're getting paid monthly, and a chunk of that comes out for your car, for your house, for your insurance and all that. It's like for me that's like a rat race. It's like a wheel that you're on.
Right.
That you have to keep running so many days a month to maintain
Well,
that.
but I also know that part of our value, like you can't be naive to the fact that I know that part of my value is not, as much as it's like an ego killer, is not based solely on my skill. A big portion of it is the fact that someone can shoot me a message and I'm there.
Yeah,
So that like having to be on demand
has a
is
cost.
right, has a cost, and that's also part of what keeps us competitive compared to
That's
other
true.
people, because we'll be the ones who are working at 11:30 at night on a Sunday if that's when the client
Hey,
needs us.
hey, listen, we've got like people who work for us as virtual workers occasionally are getting bit in the foot by rats.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
when one of your like virtual workers gets in touch with you and says, "Sorry, I've not been around, but like I got bit by a rat and I've had to have jabs and I couldn't get there," and
Yeah.
like it blows your world apart, because you start thinking about things in a different way than you like in a job situation. You just find somebody else to do it, but like I feel like I don't know, it's a different ecosystem. I
Yeah.
guess it's a different ecosystem. We're coming up to 55 minutes. I just noticed.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm kind of cutting it short is my stomach is rumbling.
I'm
And-
cold also.
Yeah, we're gonna put the heater on in a second. We're gonna put the heater on straight away.
And I need to make us curry.
Yeah, absolutely. We're done. We're done here. We're
I'm
done.
sorry.
No,
I'm
I
so
want
sorry,
I'm
but
glad we tied it up anyway.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack there. I mean, like,
no, I want to do more talks about like the realness of what
Yeah.
it's like to live quote unquote off grid. Like I think a lot of people's impression is what Instagram shows them, and
I'm always surprised by what people want as a comfort while they're, like, I think it's letting go of certain comforts, and an alternative living to me is a life that I'm more in control of or feel more awake in, rather than one where it's like
Right.
feels almost premeditated and out of my hands or out of control. I hate
But-
surprises when
Yeah.
it was like the system decided that actually it was really inefficient this month, and therefore putting charges up.
I think our perspective is also valuable in the sense that I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the story of people who live off grid and who live van life or who live whatever, alternative lifestyle, homesteaders, a lot of the stories are, I left my $10,000 million a year job to do this, and like they had such a huge kitty to start off with. Like, I sold everything I owned, I had a penthouse, I had this, and that's an awesome story because it's someone who decided that they didn't want that stuff, and I'm not
Didn't make them happy.
negating the value of that type of story.
Sure.
But it's also makes me always feel like, well, yeah, like if you have that kind of money in your pocket when you set out on this life, it's a totally different story than like what I feel like you and I went through.
Well, first of all, people will be getting a different story straight away. If I knew that I had like a 55 grand brand new RV,
right.
The first thing is I'm not worried about my van breaking down or any of that shit.
Right.
Because I'd have it insured for 2 years and have an MOT and I'd have it all picked up and everything.
Or you have enough money where you can live in Chiang Mai for 3 years and not have,
Exactly.
you got money in the bank. So
Exactly.
that's not necessarily our story. I think our story is very like slow and steady wins the race, very iterative.
There's also a big relationship. There's also a big conversation to have about money because we've both had in our time bad relationships with money.
Yeah.
In terms of how money has served us and not served us.
Yeah, it's like a bad boyfriend.
So that's kind of why we both pulled back
Who
on
drinks
that.
too much on the weekends.
Oh, pulled back for
my
various
God.
reasons on that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot to be unpacked. If you look at the blog post, I did a blog post for Steam Camp UK. If you look at my blog, I did a bunch of topics in there I want to talk about, off grid and basic income and stuff like that. And hopefully we'll get into that more in the next couple of weeks. But we'll also be taking these mics and the podcasting gear and everything.
Yeah.
Because we'll do some interviews and we'll do some chats there, I think.
Yeah.
One thing we really need to get, two sets of headphones for this that are closed cup headphones, so that they come all with it. So that way you can literally noise reduce everybody else out when you're doing interviews with people. I think that'd be cool. We can't afford it now, but I'm just saying that'd be nice. Anyway, I just rattled on for far too long.
It's okay.
Curry. So what's the curry going to be tonight?
The curry is going to consist of potatoes, green beans, spinach, and the korma sauce that we have. And then I have some naan bread and some jasmine basmati rice.
Laughing. Absolutely laughing.
Right?
Yeah.
So thankful,
Yeah.
damn.
I mean,
We eat good.
Yeah, this time last year things were rough, and now we've managed to turn it around a little bit by just going in on certain things. So.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's sauce out of a jar, but I'm still damn thankful for it.
Yeah. Still damn thankful for food
Yeah.
and heating.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we'll hopefully catch up with you tomorrow. We'll try and do these daily. Some days we don't get it done, especially weekends, but really appreciate you spending the time and subscribing and coming over here and commenting if you do that. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.